Welcome to Career Cravings with your hosts, Dev Ramcharan and Megan Reed. If you crave a better and more satisfying career, this show is for you. We're broadcasting live on Bold Radio Station every week. Now, here are your hosts, Dev and Megan.
Welcome to Career Cravings. I'm Dr. Laura Hambley, calling from chilly Calgary. We're in a deep freeze today, and I'm co-hosting the show along with Dev Ramcharan, who is with me from Toronto. And we're really excited to have Peter Han today on our show, who is the founder of Blue Key Education. He's an educator and entrepreneur, and we're really excited to share his story today. So without further ado, welcome, Peter, and tell us a bit about your career and some of its highlights.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Actually, I graduated from U of T, and, it's about 2 years ago, and I started my a startup company, Blue Key Education, on the same year. It's a really fascinating experience for me because, I don't think I was same like other my Chinese friends, like start to find a job right before school. So like a startup business, it was like a little bit trouble for me because I facing a lot of challenge at the beginning because I was born in China and raised from typical traditional Chinese parents. So they want me to find a job at the beginning. So, but I think it's better to do something I really like and fascinating. That's why I started Blue Key Education. Yes. So I think it's been over like 2 years and a half. Everything is we grow up to like over have 30 employees and multiple campuses right now. Yeah. Thank you. So we typically helping international students about their academic studies and also like culture barriers, give them confidence because there are more international students move to Canada for school right now. So, but a lot of people facing trouble in school and the personal life as well. So I think that's a good opportunity to explore. Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing what you've been able to do. And when you talk about traditional Chinese parents, maybe you could tell us a bit more about what that was like in terms of them, I guess, encouraging a certain career direction or influencing you, and how you went about pursuing what you were passionate about with your degree and career.
Okay, thank you. For typical traditional Chinese family, like we are really close to the parents. So like they always like when we grew up, they hope we can go to better university and find a better job and make more money. That's basically they hope their kids to be in the future. So like at the beginning, like they every step, your selection and your career choice is actually as everything is a plan, So, but I actually came here when I was about 16. So like, it was giving me a better chance to get in more about Canadian culture because I first studied in Edmonton. It was a public school, so they gave me more chance to get in. Making friends with the local students. And this is giving me a fresh an opportunity. I can do something like a little bit more diverse, And also the career thing is, I think it's better to choose something you like and you want to be, not like something like your parents want to be. I think this is very important for most international students when they choose career. And because most of the family, they move here maybe the first generations, and their kids actually the way of thinking is also like a very typical Chinese. So my advice is like a really good. You should mix with some Canadian culture and make more friends with local Canadian friends. They help to keep your mind like sharp again. So this is like I think is my experience to share.
So this is lovely to hear, Peter. And it seems to me that you're a very adventurous individual who was willing to take a real risk, a real chance to go in your own direction. Did you find it put you in a little bit of conflict with your family, and that they were pretty skeptical as you made that independent move?
It is really big challenge because I remember back to the first year of my startup. My parents call me every single day, trying to ask me, "Did you find a job yet? Are you on the track? Did you make any connection?" I mean, they want you to have a stable life, like typically like a stable in the finance. They want you to be everything like arranged, because I study statistics and apply math when I was in college. So they want you to do something related to what you studied before. I was really fixing this conflict. And whenever I got trouble for my startup, I couldn't share with my parents, because I don't think I'll get a lot of support because it's hard. It's really hard decision to make. And but right now, after about a year and a half, so my parents do see the improvement of my career, and they do support me like later, So but it was quite challenging though. Yeah.
And Peter, you really from a very early stage in your career have had quite a vision for the future that you want to build for yourself. Can you share with Laura and I some of those things for the future that you want to be able to accomplish, which in the end will make you feel as if you really succeeded?
Thank you so much. I think the vision is like the first. I find the career and path I really want to enjoy every moment is for any job. I think or any startup. Like if you have passion and motivation and you believe this is like a right, you have to proceed it with your 100% effort. So I see because every year, because education in Canada is every year the enrollment is getting bigger and bigger, especially for international students. So because I was born in China and I know the typical Chinese student, the way how much impact for them if they go to the better university. So I think the market. And also, like the market is for my career is getting very big. From my family, maybe my friends, and the people around me all the time, they actually facing a lot of economic problems because maybe the way they think and when they're back in China, and also like the ideology of education is everything is different. But when everyone's here, they can't really. There's no mentor or like no guidance for them to make any adjustment. So the problem is there, and also the marketing is getting very big. So that's why I believe this tutoring opportunity is very good in the future. The other thing is I think because the international relationship between Canada and China is getting very developed. So it's everybody. I can feel in local banks, some people speak more Mandarin than like maybe a second language than French. So like I'm really proud of it, and I think this is going to be a very unique direction for not only for my career, it's also for like people who have same experience with me. Like maybe they want to have a better education in Canada. So that's why I wanted to be. I don't see how big how far we can go for the future. I hope actually is like if everybody maybe gonna know Peter, they after they get a help from us, and they're willing to share that with their friends or family. That's what I want to hear. Yeah, small.
Is
Hi.
it possible? Is it possible, Peter? I just wanted to ask one more question before my colleague jumps in.
Mhm.
Have you thought about the possibility of opening a branch of your school and of the business in China itself?
Yes, yes. It's actually I'm planning it, but it takes a little bit of time and a plan because to have a branch in China and have branch in Canada, it's a little bit different. Because every time when you start a new project or a branch expansion, you have to develop a lot of local relationship. So that's a really good idea, though. But so we have this out a while ago, but I think it's probably going to take us maybe like half a year to make this happen. It's just like the Chinese education environment is a little bit different. So, but we are on the way. It's going to happen next year, I think.
Great. That's really, really exciting to hear, Peter. You're very, very inspiring with what you do and your passion around helping people and helping students build resiliency. It's not all that common to become an entrepreneur right after you graduate. So why do you think you went straight into entrepreneurship?
It's very interesting. My mom is a Chinese doctor when she was in China, and then she took all the certificate here and become the doctor in Canada. And also, like most of my family, they are actually doing IT and business related, but there's no entrepreneur in my house. So think about why don't I try to be something new and maybe more challenged? And because I'm in 20s, so I think it's going to be a very interesting experience in my right now. And also I love to take a challenge because before I started up this company, I didn't know what my limit is, because I probably going to think about, okay, you just finish a project step by step and continue your career path, maybe like everybody else. But start a company and become entrepreneur is a different story because there's so many unexpected variable and the factors are going to be in the future. You never know how things are going to turn out. So so I choose to try this the experience because when probably like in the future, like when I turn 30 or 40, it's hard to try it again. So that's why I decided to do it. Yeah.
Wow, that definitely takes a lot of courage, Peter, and I can see that you are a risk taker, but a calculated risk taker. And it's interesting that you have that degree in statistics. How do you think the degree in statistics that you took in your university education is helping you to become a better business owner?
Laura, I really like this question because everybody, I have friends ask me, hey, Peter, if you start this business, you don't need a college degree. I say I don't think so because if my business is getting more stable in a couple of years, I plan to go back to college again for maybe a graduate study. Because I think I took a stats for undergraduate. Everything is like it helped me to think more logically. And it's not only about numbers; it's also about the way you handle problem and communicate with people. Because everything is you have to observe and the cases and analyzing everything in the statistical patterns. So it helped me to think because I'm doing something education. And education, so I see my students, they have different performance during different time. So there's a bit of trend, and also like the factor they help them and to improve study and personal habit. So like sometimes I did some statistical analysis on that. So it'll help a little bit, and also like the finance area too, But it's more like about thinking, about logical thinking. But after that, I realized those backgrounds is not enough, because I think you have to build your more like soft skill, and the way to communicate, the way to talk with all different type of people, and that's I'm keep learning, and it takes some time and effort too. So I would say my education in statistics just like a part of it, and it will help in my my career a little bit, but not the whole thing. Yes.
Right, and I can. No, yeah. Absolutely, really, really, really interesting, and I can see that you won many business competitions while you were an undergraduate student. Did those business competitions really motivate you into entrepreneurship as well?
Yes, it's back to last year in college. Thanks for asking this. It's something that I never had before. I wouldn't think about that, because my last year in college wasn't very stressful. So I took a look at one of the RBC business case competition and lead my team to compete with other top business graduate students. So it's really very interesting experience, because you're not thinking as a student anymore. It's more like like an entrepreneur, or maybe or I say like a young professional, to analyze a typical like case. So I'll think about that a little bit, like on the transition from school to career. It helped me to define about my limits and my strengths and weakness a little bit, because it's really a good experience. That's why sometimes when I talk to my friends in undergraduate, I suggest them to try them out. And because you're facing the real cases, and you're wearing in different shoes to analyze the problem, it helps a lot to know your limit and your strengths. This is why I think it's very valuable.
Absolutely. So it seems like you have really strong self-insight, and you're continuing to learn probably every day. And I think having a startup like yours and growing it to the level you have in a short time is very commendable. So tell me, in growing that startup, what's the biggest challenge that you've faced running this business in Canada?
Well, the biggest challenge is how do you balance your resources? Because I would say at the beginning, you always every startup company that's facing this problem. You have very limited resources, like money-wise or labor-wise, or maybe your time. So at the beginning, it was really, really challenging and very hard, because the starting funding you have, and also like you have to maybe build a team and make sure your team will stay with you, and but like, are you going to pay them for future for a period of time, or you think you can be a partner, or maybe work for free? And you have to see the vision. You have to make them believe you have the company has a future, and this is really challenging to start at the early stage of any startup company. So yes, and sometimes you have to have a really strong belief, I think, even though because I think more than 50% of the startup company, they fail at the early stage, because maybe the founder, the startup team, they're not having the strong belief at the beginning. Then maybe think about they're choosing something else, or gave up, or they maybe take a break or something like that. So I would take, one is a belief. The second is, how do you balance the resources is very important and a bigger challenge for me before.
Peter, when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're building a business the way you are, and you've been learning as you've been going, as you've been building your business, Were there ever times when you felt like giving up and thinking, you know what, I'm so tired of this. I'm just going to go find myself a job and work for somebody else and put this business behind me. And if you ever felt that, how did you get through it?
Jeff, this is a really good question, and I never shared this experience with anyone else, even in public or private. Yes, to be honest, yes, it happened to me. It's about like a year from the beginning of it's a little bit end of the first year. So I was facing a big finance problem for the business, and it was really difficult, like a really crucial time. And I was thinking about, because at the same time you get a pressure from your family and the competitors, everybody. So, but you don't want to show that side to anybody. I was thinking about, but you have to make your finance stable, right? So then I was really terrible that time. I went home alone and drink some liquor, But you couldn't share that with anybody. Just like sometimes you have to express your stress and into maybe work out or like trying to dig and thinking harder. It's and then also like a plan to find other jobs, trying to point out different directions and get your finance more stable. Then maybe restarted this again. It happened to me, but like then I realized was like you can't stop there, Peter. The thing is, this is a really good opportunity. You should think about it and try to get all the help maybe from people who have more experience in this area. And that's how I did. And it actually make me stronger and tougher. Like any problem would happen right now, and it couldn't crush me. It's really good experience. But yes, it was a really hard time for me. Yes.
You have this wonderful sincerity and genuineness in how you talk about your experience that's very, very, it's very uplifting and very touching, Peter. You have a business where you really are helping people to integrate themselves into a brand new culture and learn about a brand new society and, go through an education process that gives them certain skills and abilities so that they can work and get work in Canada. But I was wondering, as you were telling us your experiences and how well you express them, how well you talk about the things that you've experienced and the things you've learned, at some point in time, you might want to even add into your business some element which is about working with young entrepreneurs so that they can learn from your experiences and be able to have the chance to build a business the way that you've been doing the same thing too. Is that an idea that ever occurred to you? Have you ever thought about anything like that?
I did, and I had some presentation before, but I wouldn't say like I'm full experience or like my experience is valuable for other like young entrepreneurs. But I love to share my experience and stories. And sometimes the university student organization, they invite me to make some speech. So actually, I was invited by UT, one of the organization, about I think in early October, to make a speech. And there's so many. Actually, right now, there's so many young entrepreneurs. They want to start a business compared to a couple years ago when I started my business. Yes, I love to share that because there's so many patterns. I can show and share with them so they can get less trouble in the future. Yes, this is a really good, but I didn't spend too much time on it. So we just have a few presentations that passed.
Great. So I have another question for you. So you strike me as someone, you've been out of university for a couple of years. I'm guessing you're still in your 20s, Peter?
Yes.
So that's amazing what you've accomplished in your 20s. And I wonder if you've experienced some ageism, I call it. And we see ageism at Canada Career Counseling with our clients. Either they're being judged for being too old, right? They're being judged because they're too far along in their life, or they're being judged because they're too young. And how could they be doing that? How could they be running a business at their age? What do they know? So I'm wondering if you've experienced ageism being an entrepreneur in your 20s.
Laura, I really like the question because people now in Canada, also in China, we sometimes, we talk about age all the time because sometimes it doesn't matter like what you do, start a business or start your career. I don't think age is important factors. I see a lot of mature people in 30s. They couldn't have other how to say it, confident to start a business. And also like for people like early 20s, they can do a lot of amazing stuff. Any like not only academic and also entrepreneurial challenge. So age is sometimes we are thinking about this as like stereotype. Maybe because you're young and you're lacking experience, and your knowledge is limited. But I don't think so. So age, I see a lot of like awesome people. They're young, but they did amazing stuff. So I think when you're 20s, you shouldn't waste any time of your time to I don't know, to pursue a more stable life, or you want to something you just be there and be normal like everybody else. I think when you're 20, you should working super hard, to achieve your goals. And in 30, it's like you'll see you have a higher standard than like maybe most of other people in your age. I think, and maybe then you think about the family in future time. So I don't know if I answer your question, but a lot of people are really judgmental, really critical about age. Well, I have a lot of friends, and they're like, maybe someone is about 8 years younger than me, and they're 5 years younger than me. I treat them as friends. I never think about they're young and they're less experienced or maybe naive. I never think about that. I think about age is just like something about who they are, but never don't think about them as the typical way. And also for more people older than me, and sometimes they love to talk to me because maybe I have something they want to hear, something they love to explore, So I don't think age is a problem for anybody.
Exactly. So it seems to me like you've, addressed that challenge, and I agree that you have a lot to offer in your 20s, and I've faced that same challenge with age early in my career. So really, really good answer there. And I have a question for you about other new grads who are graduating in 2017. What advice would you have for other new grads about their career as they graduate from university?
Okay, so I think because most people they're facing a lot of like decision making right now about maybe the career and maybe the future education and whether they stay in Canada or maybe they move to other countries so it's all of decision making. But at first, I think and also like I suggest most of my young grads friends, you're gonna find out who you are, and this is maybe like very very vague question, but this is very important. Like in terms of like your strengths and your weakness and your personality and your habits. So and then those traits and the factors going to decide and how you're going to choose your career. For example, if you are maybe you're very social person, you want to explore your career in something like marketing or maybe social community work. So this is something probably going to fit your type, But if you're a typically IT guy, so I think you should rather choose maybe like IT job or maybe a technology job than those marketing jobs. So first, you got to find out who you are and your strengths, your weakness, and then point out your path for your career, and then maybe you try something else. And very important is a lot of students and they're concerned about, hey, should I choose this job or should I think about doing something else? And there are so many options for them, and they always hesitate when they make decisions. So I tell them, hey, you should try something you never tried before. Keep your mind open, and don't worry about failure, because it's very common on your early age that you have a failure. And if it's something you think is not on your track, you should quickly change it to something else, and find the suitable job. This is very important. And a lot of students, they think about they want to start continuing education. That's totally fine. So I think the first one is to find out who you are and all your strengths and the weakness. Well, one thing I'm going to mention here, because for international students, so it's not only Chinese or Korean or maybe Latin American. So like sometimes the parents will give them the kids influence. Like I want my kids to become a doctor. I want my kids to become an investment banker. But those factors are very important. But you have to follow your heart, follow your mindset to find the path like you want to pursue. Now your parents. This is very important for international students. I want to mention. Yes. Am I answering your question, Laura?
Oh, absolutely. You went way above and beyond, actually. You did a really good job of describing some of the key things that we look at with clients when we're trying to help them navigate career decisions. And you described it really well, actually. And keeping an open mind and trying something you've never tried, I think that is a really important message for our listeners, and to change careers if they're not working, because a lot of people feel that once they make a commitment, whether it's to a degree or a diploma or a job, they feel that they can't change if they don't like it. So good for you to encourage that. And I guess my question for you is, you mentioned these things like strengths and weaknesses and personality. Name me five or six things that describe you that are your top strengths or your characteristics, because I'm curious about that.
Okay. Well, the first thing is I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of strengths. But if you can think that's strength, maybe I appreciate it. But I think the more time I'm doing my career, I find out the more weakness I have. It's very interesting. And I'm a person who studies statistics and the math. So I would say I'm good with the numbers. It helped me to think very logically. So this is maybe I'll think this is good. The second, I'll think I'm working hard. I'm really hard working. Sometimes I work 7 days a week, and sometimes I work over 12 hours a day. So I'm hardworking, and also I have sometimes I have to motivate myself, and keep your mind active. So I keep just and also I think about other ways to control my stress. So I'm good with stress, no matter what happened, like I can still suffer and handle it, and quickly become normal. So I think maybe that is something I can share with everybody, because stress skill is very important. Like stress management is very important, and so and what others? And I think number 4, I would say I like to make friends and communicate with people, to meet people and talk to them. And it doesn't matter they're my friends or maybe my competitors or anyone on recently I met. So that's very interesting. I want to hear the story. Want to hear the way their perspective on different things. So, and number 5 is I show respect to people, and especially to my family. I think they're very important in my life. And not only everything is starting career is sometimes about making money, but it's not only that. It's like sometimes you have to give appreciation to people you love, people who work with you, or people like your client or anybody. So I think those are very important value I am pursuing right now. I don't know if you can consider those are strengths or not.
Oh, they're all strengths. They're absolutely wonderful strengths you've listed, and I could name about 5 more just from hearing you talk. But my next question, building on the strengths that you have, I think that they've really helped you to run one of the biggest tutoring firms in Canada for Chinese international students, so your Blue Key Education business. So you help them, how do you help them find student aid, deal with cultural differences, help them with their academic problems? Just maybe you could tell our viewers what it is that your firm does so we can get more context.
Okay. I'd love to talk about that. Okay. So our company is an international company. So at the beginning, we have a lot of domestic students. But right now, we are fixing more international, like specific Chinese students. So we have 3 big services, and one is university tutoring. So we're offering exam preparation course and like any private or group tutoring course for international students in universities. And we help them to meet the academic requirement and program requirement to make sure they finish those exams with a good standing academics. And that second service we're doing is career navigation. We are focusing on international students because most of the students, they're lacking resources and they don't have enough social skill to find jobs. So we help them to build those skills. Not only like soft skill, and also like hard skill, like a computer skill and statistical skill to find jobs. And the third service is high school service. For example, we bring kids from China to study high school in Canada. So, and also we help those students to apply university in Canada. It's more like an agency. So those 3 are biggest services we are offering right now. But now we're trying to expand those services to different universities. So at the beginning, we only have University of Toronto in St. George campus, downtown Toronto. Now we have a branch at London, Western University, and one branch Queens, for Queens, like in Kingston, and one branch at the York University in the North Shore. So now we are expanding to getting more branches right now. Yeah.
So Peter, when I listen to you speak, And when I look at the way that you've intelligently been growing your business, you've got a real mind for for strategic development and for growth and growth opportunity development. If you were to look forward into your future, let's go all the way through to the end of your career. You're retiring, it's your retirement party, and people are there talking about Peter Han, what it was like to know him, what it was like to work with him, what it was like to be his client. What are the things you would want to hear them say that would really move you greatly and make you feel you truly had a successful career?
Well, this is a really good question. Be honest, I thought about that, but never went to retirement. Never liked that part. I think the first thing is, well, be honest, I'm learning and more. I'm thinking about the future of myself and also my company. I'm first generation, so I don't have a lot of connections, and even my parents' connection, they couldn't help me to assist my career, because everything here I realize is about a connection. Sometimes about your last name, is about who your parents know, And for me, I don't have those advantages because I'm a first generation here. So I think about maybe in the future. I hope my kids, maybe my grandkids, they're proud of the last names, and maybe about their grandparents or maybe their dad, because maybe the contribution they had for local students and also international students, so that they want to feel like, Peter did a great job, and a lot of students they have less stress. They have better education, better career, better future, and that's what I'm here. And not only how many branches I have, how many market we cover in North America in the future, but I think as long as the people mention my name, they think that Peter did an amazing job and developed the community, maybe a local community for, and also because right now a lot of Chinese live here in Toronto, in Canada in general, and the population size is very big and getting bigger and bigger. So if you ask any random Chinese students or their parents, they know Peter Han is a really amazing person. That's one. It means a lot for me, I think. Yes.
Great. Yeah, so really a lot of things that I'm sure will come true and are already coming true for you and what other people are saying about you, Peter. And I mean, in terms of navigating the cultural barriers, just going back to that topic, because that's been a theme throughout our conversation, is coming from China, being a Chinese Canadian, helping Chinese students. How do you overcome language and cultural barriers in your network? And how do you see that in the future improving, I guess? And what's your role in that?
I'm still facing this problem right now because I think the culture barrier and language barrier, and that's maybe typical very important factors for every Chinese student. They should working hard on. Well, I think the first thing is you have to really have really good communication skill. Well, you never know how many people you're going to talk with in the future career. You have to develop the talking skill, and trying to meet different people, and share their experience and story with them is of help, because every time when I speak, people hear my accent, but I don't think that's a big problem because a lot of international students they're afraid to talk. they're afraid of failure. Sometimes they're too shy, and the culture behind it was sometimes you have to be more conservative, because every time, China, not only in China, in Korea and Japan as well, and people are really critical sometimes. Like they judge everything you're saying, everything maybe you do. So, and that's why a lot of Asian students they're rather be quiet. They're very conservative. They're not like trying to do something they never tried before. But you have to jump the box, I say. Sometimes you have to jump out the comfort zone, to try something else. So you can be more confident and speak up. For culture barrier, sometimes it's not one-time shot. It's not like one time you learn everything. You have to build little by little. Sometimes you're not born here, so you don't really know what happened in the past. So I think the first thing is like maybe try to more friends with the local people who are older and who know what happened here, and help you to learn. And also, the second thing is sometimes you have to experience some maybe Canadian life, trying to be friends with the Canadian people, and it'll help. But you can't rush it in. It will build little by little. But it doesn't matter like if you have those experiences or not. You have to be try it out and jump on your comfort zone. Because I think in Canada, people are really friendly. They're not going to laugh at you if you don't have those experience and background. So,
right.
That's my advice. Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Really, really well put. And do you have a mentor that's made a big difference in your life, Peter?
That's a really good question. I do have a mentor, but they change every time. How to say it? I have a mentor, but different age and different stage. I have a different mentors. I remember my first before I started my company when I was in college. My mentor was my uncle, and then started my career. Sometimes my best friend. He's a mentor. He's my mentor, and also like later, I have a more mentor who have experience in making a startup or business, entrepreneurs. So I have multiple mentors, and their experience and the opinion sometimes just wake you up. It's like pointing out and make everything clear. But I'm probably going to have multiple mentors in the future. I never know. But I think making mentors sometimes is very important. Because sometimes when you're in your shoes, you can't see those images and pictures. So you need someone else's opinion to wake you up. Is very important. Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm not surprised that you've had more than one mentor, and I won't be surprised to hear that you end up mentoring many people throughout your career, Peter. So a final question is, what do you find that will keep you fully engaged and growing in your career?
I think this is I think we'll start talking about this from two directions. The first one is direction from myself, because I want to give myself a value, not only in the group, and also in maybe like the community. I want to make sure I gave myself a value. See how much Peter make your group, or maybe your community, maybe your the student around you make a change. I think this is very important. I want because you can make more students and more people to have better academic performance. And how many people you can influence? This is what I want to give a positive value on this. Second is the image for my team, the image for my company. Because every day, sometimes I'm doing even the simple job. Sometimes I'm doing that with my team, because I want to engage with them all the time. I want to engage with my branding, my image, the blue key all the time. So this is sometimes you can pass, if you do something very well, you can pass that influence to people around you. Now they're happy to do the same thing with you. And the positive influence sometimes they'll be, they can be passed on from one to the other. I think this is very important. So that's why every time when I talk to my students, my friends, when they're facing a problem or barrier, sometimes I tell them, hey, you should share that with your friends. When you're facing any academic problem or maybe any career problem. Is something you get to share that, and then people are going to pass that to each other. I hope this will be continuing. If people like us and like me, we'll pass this on continuously. And this is something I want to engage, in the future.
Absolutely. So it sounds like really working at building a legacy of helping as many people as possible to navigate the challenges. So thank you so much, Peter. I mean, you've given us so many important points and I call golden nuggets or learnings that the viewers or the listeners will really appreciate. So what we're going to do now is end our first segment of Career Cravings, and we'll go on to segment 2 after a short break. So thank you very much, Peter, and we'll be debriefing in a moment.
Okay, sure. My pleasure.
That was the end of our first segment, and we really had the chance, Laura and I, to talk with a thoroughgoing professional and a remarkable young entrepreneur. What really stood out for me, Laura, was the way that he showed his ability to jump out of the box. Peter had a lot of boxes that he could have stayed in from the beginning of his life moving forward. There was the parental box, the expectations that people had of him, his mom and dad, the kind of career he should have gone into, the work he should have assumed coming directly out of school. He jumped out of that box. He jumped out of the parental stereotype of what was expected of him and went in his own direction. He's also, in many ways, too, trumped typical cultural stereotypes expected of people of his background, potentially, but also people of his age group. There is a significant ageist tendency in the world in which we're living. And millennials, Generation Y, has really taken a significant amount of criticism. But the more that I talk to millennials, the more I find what's out there in the way of stereotyping is absolutely wrong. What we see is a generation with people, the people we've spoken to in this program, who are extremely hardworking. They've got some very clear ideas about what career means to them and the direction that they'd like to take their personal careers in. And Peter is not only typical of that kind of person that we've been speaking with, but he's one of the real remarkable examples of excellence in careers for people who are in this particular generation. So he really functions not just as an independent entrepreneur who went his own way. Peter also functions as an example of what to shoot for young people about to embark on their career lives, and for older people, even people like myself at my age, to look at and to be inspired by, to keep on pushing and keep on moving forward. It's been a real pleasure speaking with him. And I think he's not just taught lessons to millennials, but to anybody of any generation listening to this show at this particular point in time. Laura, what were your thoughts? What did you think?
So what I saw, Dev, Dev really summed it up nicely. But what I see is an individual in Peter that has a lot of strengths and talents. And I would say the number one descriptor for Peter is humble, right? He's very, very humble, which is actually a real strength in this day and age, because I think when we see egos and arrogance, it really impacts society, it impacts business, it impacts relationships. So I think the fact that Peter can be so humble that he doesn't even use the word strengths to describe his many strengths is actually a real gift. And the strengths that really shone through when it comes to Peter is someone who definitely cares about people, wants to make a difference, someone who's hardworking, someone who's a risk taker. I mean, starting a business like Peter has just out of university is an amazing feat. And with English as his second language, navigating the market and the business world is an amazing feat. But I think what Peter really shows us is the power of resilience. And I like the fact that he focuses on building resiliency in students, but Peter also shows tremendous resilience to face the hurdles, move forward, take the risks, and get out of those boxes or challenge the boxes. So I really like the way Dev talked about the different boxes that you've got yourself out of. And I think that you will continue to bring value to many, many people throughout the world. And you'll continue to mentor and be mentored along the way. And I think that humility really shone through in how you said the more you know or learn, the more you realize that you don't know. And I think that is a really important point that sets apart avid learners from other people, because even having a PhD myself, you realize that, wow, there's just so much more that you don't know. And I think that anyone who thinks they know it all and believes that they can stop learning is wrong. So good for you to have that mentality, and I think it'll make your business all the more successful, and you will go in directions that you never thought possible with all of your connections, your perseverance, and your resiliency. So thank you very, very much for being on the show, and we hope that it was a good trip down memory lane and an interesting way to describe your career to date. And I'm only very, very excited to keep in touch with you and to find out all the other things that you achieve in the years to come. So thank you very, very much. And with that, we are going to close this episode of Career Cravings and wish everyone a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The career discussion doesn't stop here. For more information about how to transform your career, visit CanadaCareerCounseling.com. And remember to tune in next Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Bold Radio Station for the next episode of Career Cravings.